I promise to be serving of all Ohioans, for all the people of our state, and I will remember that I am their servant. Thought I'd open up today for language litigation and integration with a great quote from our state governor currently, Michael DeWine. So, my name is Bradley Boas. This is my legal documentation of historical crime. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 8 of the United States Constitution gives you a right to your writings and your discoveries. If you look right here on this channel, the From Rhythm to Algorithm series is a first principle derivation of very legitimately the entire scientific method. And so, with complete scientific rigor, which is more than mathematical rigor, right? Proof is proof. So I've derived a complete proof, and in doing so, again, created a profound amount of property for myself, but in addition, established certain scientific facts. That scientific discovery, which is profound, it's hard to encapsulate when you derive literally the entire scientific method. How profound it is in terms of implications, what it directly applies to, and not disseminating that information is profoundly detrimental to everybody. And so I have a constitutional right to my writings and my discoveries. Failure to respect that right or to disclose science in general has caused profound death and suffering globally. So I'm doing as much as I can to document all of that behavior, all of that reaction to sentiment in this series. And so I thought that'd be a great quote to open up with, because Michael DeWine, he is our current governor. And again, we're at a point where we have people saying they're their servants. I will be serving all of Ohioans. Again, I'm an Ohio resident. I've been an Ohio resident the very bulk of my adult life, or my entire life, excuse me. And in doing so, I can sit here and directly offer over $500,000 of contractually notarized funds to have constitutional rights, which, fun fact, you shouldn't have to offer any dollars to have constitutional rights. And so we're at a point in history where, again, the entirety of science has been derived on the internet. The personal protections for the financial just compensation for private property used for public use, that's the direct verbiage of the Fifth Amendment, is right there in the Constitution. Then you can turn on TV again, and we'll cover here shortly. I've suffered grave bodily harm, which turned out to be better than I expected. My blood work is pretty good, but I do have fatty liver caused because I have what's been identified as savant syndrome and synesthesia. I mean, that's kind of the scientific acknowledgement, but it's at a profound level where violation of my rights has caused me the ability to eat properly, sleep properly, and then subsequently do work. But again, literally managing eating and sleeping has been such a profound difficulty for me throughout my life because people do not understand my learning capacity to any extent whatsoever. People think if they're different, it would be some sort of, Goodwill Hunting type experience, or, you wow the teachers and then you get the cute girl. Not even remotely close. Difference is different. And so when people don't know what that is, it's a very just kind of a huh. And then people being not very mature, and we're in this environment where everyone's clamoring over each other to get jobs and to differentiate, to find mates, get a girlfriend, get a boyfriend, whatever your sexual orientation is. But competition runs our environment. People just absolutely categorically destroyed my reputation. And subsequently, I've been living in this state of restriction of my rights to complete destruction of my life, no quality of life, citing law directly for the past 10 years, but in reality, I've been profoundly abused my entire life. And so, really wanted to hit home on that because our great governor always articulating how he serves all of Ohioans, and I'm just over here like, what on fucking earth are you talking about? But regardless, I will do a whole video, scientific video and legal video about my blood work and about my CAT scan. And so, but it's the direct result of violating my rights destroys my ability to eat. And again, that's in the same way people that aren't neurodivergent don't understand what it's like for like an autistic person to get like sensory overload. It's the opposite for me. But whenever people perceive that you're trying to say that you're smarter than somebody else, it's like, again, you could kill someone's grandma, say the most racist thing ever, do the most racist thing ever, but like if somehow you imply somebody else doesn't know what they're talking about, it's just like they get offended and then they assert any authority over you. And I've been in that abuse process very legitimately my entire life. And so the primary function of these videos is to document that crime, record the damages. I do the best I can to abide by YouTube's guidelines, but these is straight up exhibits and documentation that you directly play in court. And so Again, just can't emphasize enough how profoundly hypocritical our governor is. Again, that's just the jurisdiction I live in, but the scientific obligation and the legal obligation to publish what I have discovered. Again, this is then, forget me, the results affects absolutely legitimately everybody. Go turn on your TV, watch a sports game, wait how long until it takes till you hear the word rhythm. Go on TV, watch anybody talk about anything logically, wait how long it takes for them to say it is what it is. So I've demonstrated the entirety of resolutions, what a solution can be. We've derived analysis. And so in this section, we just cover a lot of talking points, but the primary function is I am deprived of my rights. It has destroyed my quality of life. It is active, it is ongoing, and I'm just, again, documenting as much as possible. With that being said, moving on, because this, again, that is the primary function, but I like to try to get as much work done regardless. And so a lot of talking points, again, just current events, and then I relate, any legal generalization that arises, we address in this situation or in this series as well. And so that is what is going on. On to our talking points. And so I guess the big one, there's a lot of them that revolve around Iran. And so currently, again, Donald Trump is not behaving, Pete Hegseth is not behaving, has not demonstrated behavior that would require or be established for a commander-in-chief in any way, shape, or form. We have these centralized governments, we have populations that are large enough where we have to have representation. That is inevitable. But then again, the overall sentiment regulates the behavior of any one individual. So very provably scientifically, I can say from personal experience and documenting it from a scientific perspective with complete proof that there is no capacity for people to behave. And so when you see Donald Trump getting on there with Jake Paul and having like hey man, Jake Paul's an absolute goof, but he's not really in the political environment. He's plenty fine YouTuber, boxer, but it's just when you see this, it's like, hey man, we're gonna go bomb some school kids in Iran. Barron Trump's gonna buy $50 million worth of oil futures. Not sure if that's true, but I saw that pop up. But it kind of raises the question and it evokes the sentiment, would Donald Trump send Barron Trump to serve in an armed conflict? And just in general, I think that again, at this point in time, if anybody wants to do a war, if you are not on the front lines as the commander-in-chief, you have absolutely zero business in engaging in any violent conflict, period. All of science is sitting on the internet, and people just have to very literally calm down and stop shooting each other. That's very legitimate. And so Hegseth, when Donald Trump is not a commander-in-chief by behavior, by merit in any way, shape, or form. And so then you get to this very real situation. It's like, what do you do when you just have this, again, a former celebrity guy, which you don't really need, a political background doesn't mean anything, but it's just his behavior is completely unacceptable as a commander-in-chief, as a head of state, so on and so forth. And so if you would not, again, put your own son or frankly yourself, to me, to be a commander-in-chief, you have to be in military age capacity. But again, we live in a joke of a society. Again, I opened up with a direct quote from our governor, and they do it legitimately. They just surround themselves with people that clap really loud at the State House. And I'm over here like, what up, Governor DeWine? Don't you remember when I went to the FBI building multiple times, when I called them hundreds of times, when I called NBC4, and then they swatted me, and you guys swatted me, and you guys swatted me. And I'm just trying to exercise my constitutional rights. And so it's just like, again, the hypocrisy is so direct, so immediate, and so egregious. I genuinely don't know how people conduct this behavior. Regardless, that's what being the only adult in the room looks like, I guess. And so that's kind of my overall, and should an armed conflict be initiated from anyone, again, without direct defense, Palestine, again, genuine Palestine, not Hamas, and then genuine Ukraine. Again, if you're not getting attacked, there is no point to have an armed conflict. If you think it's severe enough that you need to, frankly, again, to me, that decision at this point would come from agreement of more than one country independently. Because to me, when I see, again, jurisdictions, the United States populace, seeing it's a legitimate exercise to be like, oh yeah, Congress approved a war. That is just, you guys are playing high school. You guys are the fucking janitors and the fucking people that run bake sales. You don't own the school, you don't run the school. I'm the guy that has contributed more to this environment than everybody else combined, factually, literally true. And so you're pissing all over my shoes, and it's kind of pissing me off beyond that. But again, we don't have a society that has any sort of merit, has any sort of listening attenuation to the people that actually have behavioral merit. They do the actions, they have discipline, they do the right thing. And then so from the actual progressions, we had some Marine, Brian McGinnis, who was protesting the Israel-Iran conflict, and he gets forcibly removed from sort of, again, Senate hearing. Again, I'm not sure the actual political venue, if it was federal, if it was state, if it was local, what it was. But the genuine question, and if you're watching this video, we generalize any questions and try to make them as applicable as possible. Should people who have served in the armed forces be allowed to raise their voice, be allowed to what the average citizen would be determined to be doing as civil, like when you cause a ruckus in public? To me, this is unacceptable to not allow armed service members, right? If they're showing up in uniform and making a stand, I mean, that's kind of like, it's not just haphazard. It's a clear, I am protesting, I served in this thing, I risked my life, so on and so forth. Bam, I want to speak out against this. You should have that avenue to do so. So I saw that as rather egregious. And again, the senator, because again, you just see this reaction. Uh-oh, we have a guy upsetting our flow. And then the police officer's like, we're the guys with the jurisdiction now, so we're going to yank this guy out. Doesn't matter, he's a service member. And so again, then we're back to the war. What are you serving? The Constitution, I just cited it directly. And that application of science, the discovery of science, affects 100% of all people. So you're serving nothing, provably. Your commander-in-chief is a fucking comedic joke. If you do serve and then you go in and protest anything, your voice means less than nothing, and they will physically batter you, literally. Again, raising your voice is not a violent threat. Again, the only limitation I would say is if it's just like you make your point and then you just keep disrupting public service. Again, but that's kind of like the purpose of serving the armed forces. It's a joke. Our society is beyond what a joke could mean. And so, to me, that was egregious. Armed force members, specifically combat, should definitely have more of a voice in protests. And again, this is just public protest. I mean, the worst this is, again, the absolute worst to this is like a warning for, trespassing. Maybe, but if it's in a state building, you just remove them, and they just say you can't come back for like 5 minutes, or like you have to like just not disrupt procedure. But even at that, again, it's like, what are you disrupting? Some administrative meeting to like approve a budget of $100K for somebody to go, again, build a sign or build a park or something. Like, this is where it's like priority matters. If you were saying we need an army, we need people to go to other countries and kill people, and then they want to say we shouldn't be doing that, and then you break their hands, which again, in a civil context, that's still battery, as opposed to just like asking somebody to stop disrupting, a minor crime to, again, bodily harm, is fucking insanity. It's just atrocious, man. I am sitting here genuinely looking into this camera. Is there one person watching this video that would consider themselves an adult? I don't. I'm the only fucking adult I've ever met in my entire life. And so I saw that as egregious and atrocious. We have, again, trying to stay with the Iranian talking points. It's been like a week since I've done one of these. But we had a new leader named, just the son, like Khamenei. But again, just there's nothing. You're not going to then to the geopolitics. You're not going to do anything. We have this big, as of Friday, this mobilization of 2,200 soldiers with some two big amphibious vessels. Again, I don't know military equipment, personnel, like what movement indicates this or that. But point being is now we have 15, 20 United States soldier people die, and for what, right? We took out the Iranian leadership. The country and the society and the culture is so big and so diverse. That is, again, it's like a school shooting here. It's like it affects a bunch of people. A bunch of people get all sad. You see it on the news. And then the move to the world just keeps going. And so the overall sentiment, cultural environment, again, they're people. They're human beings. You just go kill a bunch of them. What the fuck do you think is actually going to happen? They're like, oh yeah, we're going to submit to the guy that used to run The Apprentice? That's going to make sense. And so, of course not. But we have some planting of mines in the Strait of Hormuz. But again, is the Iranian regime genuinely terroristic? Yes. But again, to the practical application of what do you do militarily to enact change, you can kill a bunch of people. Is it going to do anything? And what we'll see here in the future is absolutely not. And so now we're going to have this Republican Party. And again, I am not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I have brain cells. And so just engaging and saying I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican is just like you just bring your identity down to a level where you're a child and your opinion means nothing. But what's going to happen is now they're effectively, the Republican Party headed by Donald Trump's effectively going to double down on like, again, we took out this bad regime, but you didn't. You killed a bunch of people, which it did, which, again, if you could somehow practically round up all the people that don't know how to behave, click a button, and they go away, the world genuinely gets better for everybody else. That is 100% true. Practically, is that possible? 0%. And the amount of people that would qualify for being not good for would surprise a lot of people. But again, it would be scientifically demonstrable. Because all of the fixable problems in this world, you're never going to fix all accidents, but all of the fixable problems in this world is this diffuse responsibility, just kind of benefiting yourself and then insulating yourself from the consequences of those actions. And so meaning Donald Trump initiating a war with no real plan, no real anything. Again, you have 20 service members dead. There was one right here from Columbus, Ohio, Governor DeWine. There was one from, I think it was from like Whitehall or somewhere in central Ohio. But he was one of the service members killed, refueling a plane in Iraq. And so again, people have all of this, you see the grandeur of Bronze Stars, Medals of Honors, Purple Hearts. And then it's effectively like you were just going to the gas station and someone shot you. So your home country's like, thanks for your service, dude. And so, again, this is not a just war in any capacity whatsoever. So we have this new leader. Nothing is really going to change. There's too early to see what's going on, but that's what's going on. There's not, even if you have big ground mobilizations, and Donald Trump's up there saying we have the best military, the best ordnance, the best this, the best that, you don't know the terrain that well. Nobody knows the terrain better than natives. I mean, like it's not a ground war it would accomplish less. You would just have skirmishes and fights and more death, and then nothing will be accomplished. These changes at these regime level, at these country levels, which again, I see no practical nor need to even attempt to like dissociate countries. And so it has to come from within our current environment, how things are working. And so you're just going to have a long drawn out skirmish. It's very similar to Afghanistan, 100 million fucking %. And it's one of these regions that has enough terrain and history where it's like people in a lot of these parts don't even have the maps you have. And so them carrying it, I mean, it's like, I don't, this is not what a commander-in-chief would do, like 0%. And so planning of mines in the Hormuz, again, everyone's worried about the trade. We've covered that as much in the trading series as I want to talk about right now. But we have had some now reactionary attacks. Again, we had that Senegalese guy, light up a bar restaurant. That kind of hits the headlines, but here in America, mass shooting. It's like, oh, who cares? He's wearing an ISIS shirt. We have that like every day, like multiple times. But we had this ISIS-inspired IEDs thrown in New York, kind of like outside Mandami's, the new mayor's residence, which is kind of interesting to me. Isn't Mandami Muslim or Muslim? So that's the whole point. It's like I said, ISIS isn't really a Muslim organization. They don't respect the actual teachings of the Prophet. People just use whatever ideology they say to say, I have economic disparity. Hey man, 99 virgins, bro, go blow up that guy. Again, from somebody who's sitting in a palace somewhere. And then it's just, the army's made up of 18 to 30-year-olds, again, 45, 60, whatever fighting age is. But this is all run from people who aren't actually doing the fighting. It's pussy shit. It just is. And the overall arching theme is we don't need to have armed conflict. My goodness. Get rich and chill. But regardless, we have these retaliatory attacks, which I only see will escalate because you're just going to cause more motivation and you're not going to cause a regime change and we're just going to cause more violence. We're just going to throw gasoline onto another fire that wasn't even, it was there. But we're just going to throw gas on the fire just because. And so it's almost comical. You see like the cell phone footage, because again, we all have 4K cameras right in our hands, and it's like a teen like, hey dude, you ready to see me commit an ISIS terrorist attack, bro? Like and subscribe. Lights the bomb and kind of like runs past the police, and everyone's just like, what the fuck? I mean, it's like comically stupid at this point. I mean, it's always been comically stupid, but we can just see it with our 4K or even 8K. Holy shit. But so that is what is going on there. And then we have Trump with this comment. Trump says Cuba is just a question of time. What is the end goal here, everybody? Again, he is just Donald Trump is the head figure of, in the same way you say the Khamenei is the next Khamenei, and then I guess it's just sentiment generates the behavior from Trump, sentiment generates the behavior from Khamenei, and it's the same behavior. And again, at this, both it just sucks. What the fuck is going on? But the Iranian thing, or the IED thing, or what else was I saying? I think that might have been it on the Iranians, or no, the Cuba. So we're back to Cuba. It's the question of time. It's like, are we just, again, what do you think you just kill a group of people and then it just like changes the regime? Frankly, in some cases it might. Cuba's a lot different to me than Iran. But again, it's just like, how many clips of Donald Trump can you pull up saying, hey, I don't want a new war. Hey, not this, hey, not this, hey, not this. And it's just like this behavior. The behavior itself is what I hate the absolute most. It's because the hypocrisy has no ends. Hypocrisy is not rational. It is not predictable. It is not consistent. It is not good in the most fundamental sense. And so, again, this is just the furthest thing from what a commander-in-chief would behave like in any meaningful sense. And so, but Trump says we want to finish this one first in reference to Iran. What does that mean, Donald? I'm asking you, Donald. I'm sure you can find this video. Someone's going to get this video to you. What does that look like? Finish what in Iran? Kill all of who? Come on, Donald. Maybe it's time for another podcast with Jake Paul. You're really killing it, dude. You're really the head of the intelligence agencies. You're really the big dog out there, man. But I do think that is it for the Iranian war. Currently, it feels like, again, the movement with Besant being pulled out. Shout out to Wilford Frost. I haven't seen you over here in the States for some time, but he was a host on CNBC in the United States for a while. Now he's back over in Queen's English. Well, I guess the King's English now. But regardless, Besant getting pulled out, it's like, on Friday, the clear speculation is like doing some military action with the markets closed. This is just such a fucking game, and it's disgraceful, and it's profoundly disgraceful. And again, people are just removed from the consequences of their actions on a direct individual level. And so that is that for the war currently. But Kristi Noem was fired or removed from her position. I guess she was just restructured within the Trump administration, but she was the former U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security, and she ran some $220 million campaign. And so it's just all of these secretary positions, all of these appointment positions, it's just like people just bolster their administration with sentiment buffers, man. It's just talking heads. And I keep wanting to say people don't even know that's what they're doing, but it's just so direct. It is what they're doing. To a large extent, they deny that. Again, you guys are causing more death and destruction than you will ever admit or ever understand. But the CEOs eat their own burgers. I reviewed the Big Arch myself. You saw the whole hoopla with the McDonald's CEO. Again, I don't put too much. Again, I don't know what to make of that. It just went viral. So I did my part and I did a Big Arch review. Brandon Herrera wins Texas nomination after his opponent drops out. His opponent's victim emulated herself. And so Tony Gonzalez slept with Regina Santos Avilas, who killed herself by setting herself on fire. And so, wow, it looks like the governor, or again, I don't know what this is. Is this for the Senate? I think this is the Senate race is heating up in Texas. But it looks like you got some stiff competition, Brandon. The Tonys out there sexually assaulting partners and to the point where they'll kill themselves. Must be real high quality characters you're running against. We have Rihanna's house gets shot up, and that was with rifle shots. There was about 10 of them. Suspect Ivana Ortiz, 35, female. What kind of crash out is this? It's like, hey, famous person, huge mansion, giant compound. She posts some weird videos on social media. I'm going to go do what? It's such a strange crash out. I'm going to shoot live ammunition at a huge compound, which is definitely going to get me attempted murder charges. There's very, very minute chance I'm going to do any damage, which you shouldn't try to do, but what is the thought process here? Who knows, man? This is what crashing out is. Again, irrational behavior is not rational. But back to the state of Ohio and our great leaders, as our Governor Michael DeWine has stated multiple times, that he serves all of Ohioans. I guess I don't qualify, but in my personal life, I've never qualified as a human being to anybody I've ever interacted with, so I don't know why that would change now. But we can see more great leadership at The Ohio State University. President Ted Carter resigns effective immediately following an inappropriate relationship with an unnamed person. Came out and seemed to be a podcaster, seemed to be of appropriate age, didn't seem to be like, getting any dates from Wexner and Epstein. But again, I didn't really seemed of appropriate age. I thought this was going to be another Epstein visitor, but did not seem to be any sort of diddling. But again, just like misusing school funds or something. But it's just hilarious. Look, Harvard, we have a great school, the greatest school in the world, Harvard. Our president resigns for plagiarizing her whole dissertation. The Ohio State University. Can you guys hire somebody that like behaves with maturity? Oh, that's right, you can't, because sentiment dictates all behavior. And Ted Carter finally made it. Oh, now he's going to bend the rules a little bit. And then, I can do whatever I want. We can do basically whatever we want. You guys can't be men. You guys can't be adults. You can't be reasonable. You can't be disciplined. You can't be understanding. You can't be meritful. You can't be educated. Don't even get me started on words like honorable. Seeing you guys give each other military awards is like fucking hilarious. But it's profoundly disgraceful is what it really is. And so then so this was an interesting one, but we have teens arrested and charged after toilet papering gets a beloved teacher killed. And so originally, it just came out yesterday that the charges were dropped, but it was a first-degree vehicular homicide charge, but immediately that would be manslaughter. If you follow the situation at all, immediately the whole reaction was this is just truly a tragic accident. Again, obviously I have no specific personal insight to the situation, but if somebody, again, dies without the intention to have death, right? You can kill in defense and you're still intending to kill somebody. That's not even a charge. Let's go eat your cheeseburger. Have a nice day. But homicide versus manslaughter is the manslaughter's charges that would, result in death that was not intended. And so that is the logical legal difference between homicide and manslaughter. And so this situation immediately, if you wanted to press, again, this is an attorney general. Again, I don't even agree with such a reaction from this community. I guess, you should, with death involved, investigate everything. But they don't. People don't investigate shit. Police officers are worthless, man. But this would immediately be manslaughter. This is not a homicide situation at all. Homicide means murder. Killing can be defensive, but homicide means murder. Murder means homicide. Manslaughter means death as the result of an action. Right? Someone got manslaughtered. But regardless, and then as the attorney, I would have disagreed. I don't have experience, again, whatever the formalities are, but the charges did get dismissed, at least the vehicular one, like all of the serious one for the driver. This is in Gainesville, Georgia. I guess he just tripped chasing off the 18-year-olds. They were 18 years old, chased him off. He falls into the street and gets run over haphazardly. Again, certainly a manslaughter situation for the initial, just whatever, not homicide. And then if I was the attorney general, it'd be immediately dismissed, right? Immediately you see this reaction where it's just genuine, I don't say freak accident, but yeah, sure. It doesn't matter what you call it. I would dismiss the charges and this would have been labeled manslaughter as not even homicide to begin with. But we have the USA grants asylum to female Iranian footballers after not singing the national anthem. I have been personally seeking asylum outside of the United States for no political reasons. Well, again, this is, like I said, I'm an individual. I'm not being prosecuted as a group. I'm not being persecuted as a group. I have been restricted my rights in such a profound and extensive way. I cannot eat and sleep properly to the point it's caused me grave bodily harm. That's a fact. And nobody cares. Then our governor says he serves all Ohioans. And I email or call the people at the news stations and say, here are the people committing fraud, and then they swat me. It's what the fuck, man? So I just can't emphasize enough the people that have been involved. I don't say the names more than necessary. Just prosecute them legally and lawfully, show them no mercy, no leniency, every bit of punishment that could possibly exist. Again, it's endangerment of a world leader. It's endangerment of, again, when I die, nobody is going to do science like me ever again. It will never occur. I have gotten out all of the fundamentals, that is for real, but it's like, my goodness, can I live my life to any extent now? And so I've been seeking asylum. And so the United States is granting asylum to Iranians, but it's all of this show bullshit, man. It's like it's on national TV, so we're going to help out these people. I'm a citizen here, and I'm saying, can I have constitutional rights? Or if I can't, can I just have a little bit of money that I have rightfully earned? I can show you a song by Kevin Gates saying, King B, they're making it rain on you 7 years ago. Can I have a livable wage so I don't have grave bodily harm? Please? And the answer is no. And so it's just, I mean, nothing short of if you took a world leader, took him to a live gun range, put him down range and just shot at him and just, a couple flesh wounds. I mean, whatever. Jesus, man. And so the world has failed. I mean, the world has failed. Family has failed. Everything has failed. There's no character. There's no morals. There's just people playing games and competing over nothing. That is all this world has ever been. But to show some more good behavior, again, last couple points, a man died in LA after cutting his wiener off in the street. So that's exciting stuff in LA. Gunmen killed in synagogue attack. He rammed a vehicle in Detroit, Michigan. And this was at Old Dominion University, I think, but it was a synagogue. And again, what was he? Oh, he had family in Lebanon. Israel bombs the shit out of Beirut. Well, and now it's like, again, how can people be surprised if someone's family gets blown up and be like, well, what do you think their instinct is going to be? Big mystery. And so good job, Donald. All you've done is you're going to cause more terrorist attacks. And then he gets on stage and is like, that's the cost. The cost of what? Like, what are you accomplishing? You will accomplish nothing meaningful. That is a guarantee. But you're too stupid and arrogant to listen to anybody. Again, behavior is proven to me as 1 + 1 = 2. But probably didn't pass that class either, did you, Donald? And so, again, I continue to be deprived of my rights. It is profoundly and extensively illegal. I have suffered grave bodily harm as the result of the restriction of my rights. I continue to seek asylum, and our great governor, shout out Michael DeWine, for serving all of Ohioans. You continue to do a great job at being a bitch of a man and a total fucking hypocrite. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.